The Honourable Member for Banff-Kananaskis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There's a lot to unpack there, Mr. Speaker. I'm not really quite sure where to begin. I was just kind of jotting down some notes. I think it's really funny that whenever we're debating things in this House that's actually about serving the people, that word socialism is thrown around. Asking to create a scenario where auto insurance rates are indexed to inflation is not socialism, Mr. Speaker. That's just serving the people and trying to make things a little more affordable. The member opposite wants to talk about socialism to incite fear and division among her base and her voters, and I guess that's fine if that's what her voters want to hear, but it's not an accurate representation of this motion or the stance that our party takes to serve the people. There's so many things. This motion will index auto insurance premiums to inflation. It's truly about affordability, Mr. Speaker. Everybody in this House seems to recognize that we're in an affordability crisis, that life is really expensive for Albertans. A motion like this helps make life a little easier for Albertans. It's looking at what are the things that people are spending money on and how can we make that a little cheaper so that we can ease the financial stress and pressure on Albertans. I'll just say a couple of things in response to the members' debate just now, but you know, the current rate of inflation in Alberta is 1.8%, and across Canada it is 2.2%. If we were to index auto insurance to inflation, it would probably increase at about 2%. That's still quite a bit lower than the 7.5% that the UCP has in their auto insurance plan when they decoupled it from inflation. So just right there, car insurance will be more expensive as soon as you decouple it from inflation. When I am going around my riding in Banff-Kananaskis talking about affordability with people in my riding, groceries, rent, car insurance. These are the three main buckets, I guess you could say, Mr. Speaker, that people are really struggling with. And when I say struggling, I mean I have many families living paycheck to paycheck. I have many minimum wage earners in my riding who are working 2 or maybe 3 jobs just to be able to afford to live in the home that they're living in and feed their kids and be good parents and all of the things that come with that. So affordability it's very acute across Banff-Kananaskis. And a part of that affordability challenge is because, as one of the members on the opposite side mentioned, when you're in a rural setting, owning a car isn't really optional. You need a car to get around. You need a car to go in between communities and maybe to get around town as well. So people need to have a vehicle, and increasing car insurance rates are a big part of affordability challenges that people are facing. I want to take a little bit of time here to talk about this good driver rate cap. So at first blush, that seems like a good idea. Like if you're a good driver, you'll just pay less insurance. I feel like it's always been like that. I have always been a good driver and some of my friends weren't, and I always paid less for insurance than they did. But here's the challenge with this good driver rate cap, Mr. Speaker, is that it defines good drivers as somebody who does not have any at-fault claims in the previous 6 years, any criminal code convictions in the previous 4 years, any major convictions in the previous 3 years, and more than one minor conviction in the previous 3 years. So that all sounds really good, but then of course there are exemptions to what the good driver rate cap applies to, and that's where we start to create a lot of confusion, I would say, in the legislation and in the UCP's policy around automobile insurance, because we've got these criteria, but then it's like, okay, but hold on a second. If you change insurers, if you add people to your insurance, if you move from one province or a territory to Alberta, if you have significantly modified the existing insured vehicle in a manner that materially increases the risk of the original vehicle that was insured, All of these kinds of things create exceptions to the good driver rate, and now all of a sudden you're not a good driver, and so now your insurance premiums may increase definitely more than 7.5%. They could go up dozens and dozens of percentage points, Mr. Speaker. And so there's a lot of reasons why a good driver might not actually have anything to do with driving. And they might not qualify for the rate cap because they're switching insurers or adding a vehicle or moving or adding family members with poor claims to their existing policy. Newcomers and new drivers are also negatively affected by this definition of good drivers because newcomers to Alberta may be disproportionately impacted since the rate cap is only applicable for policy renewals. And new drivers coming to Alberta from other provinces or new drivers like young people are also disproportionately affected by earnings, Mr. Speaker. They may be some of the lowest wage earners in our constituencies, and they may not be able to qualify for this good driver status. This also means that with a rate cap applying to policy renewals, good drivers may hesitate to switch insurers, Mr. Speaker, and that to avoid losing the benefits of this cap, and that reduces competition and starts to interfere in the free market. So, Mr. Speaker, I do find it a little bit rich when the members opposite stand up and talk about how on this side of the House we don't value the free market when their policies are literally reducing competition every single day in auto insurance. I want to tell a little story, Mr. Speaker. So my last daughter moved to Nelson in BC this weekend. My husband and I are officially empty nesters. I'm going to try not to cry. It's hard. So I'm very proud of my daughter and the life that she's creating for herself in Nelson. But I will say, Mr. Speaker, the reason why she left the Bow Valley is because she cannot afford to stay. And when I go door knocking in Canmore and Banff and also in Bragg Creek, I hear from a lot of parents who are in a similar situation to me, that Alberta has become expensive for our young people, that they can't find jobs because youth unemployment is so high and the cost of living is so high that they can't afford to move out on their own. I want my daughter to move out. I want her to create that independent life. I sure wish she could have done it in her hometown. Closer to me, obviously, but the reality is that her and her friends could not afford to stay in Canmore. And so we lose our young people from the rural setting. We lose them from smaller communities to the big city because that's where the jobs are, or because it's more affordable, or because they can get more roommates in a place, I don't know. But either way, it creates this drain of youthful energy and vigor and experience that over time changes the fabric of our communities, Mr. Speaker. And it's hard. It's hard to witness that change happen in your town. And of course, it's hard when it's your children that are moving far away to another province because they cannot afford to stay in the one that they've been born and raised in. The member opposite spoke about how this motion would would cause insurers to leave Alberta, Mr. Speaker. And I'll tell another story about my constituency office manager who, when she came to Alberta, could not find an insurance company because every insurance company she approached was leaving Alberta. The truth is that insurance companies are already leaving Alberta, Mr. Speaker, with or without this motion. And it's clear to me that we do have problems with insurance, and we do need some insurance reform. This motion is not about supporting insurance companies, it's about supporting Albertans. I kind of feel like most of the time we're debating insurance, the members opposite talk about insurance companies and how much money they've lost over time, but I want to talk about Albertans, and I want to talk about low-income Albertans who are struggling to make ends meet, who are forced to pay higher auto insurance, and a 7.5% cap that they may or may not qualify for is too high. It is increasing the cost of monthly bills, and this government isn't doing anything about it to actually reduce monthly bills for people, Mr. Speaker. And so that is what we need. We need a government that actually wants to serve the people, and this motion would be a step towards that.